like that. Okay, I'm gonna give it like another 2 minutes here. My internet is being very wonky at my house too, so I'm hoping it does not cut out in the middle of this
Yeah.
either.
Did you guys lose power at all?
I don't know, because we were up north since we just got home yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
So when we came home, we're like, why do we have so many like trees and stuff? We had no idea that it was storming.
Yeah, it's been gnarly. Thankfully, we flickered, but it never went out. But I have friends that live like just down the road, and they've been without power since Sunday. And they've got little kids too.
Yeah, I'm glad. Well, I'm glad we missed that because it was really nice up north and we didn't have any. We had a little rain. Hi, Angela. We had a little rain, but that was just about it.
Yeah,
Hey,
Hi, I didn't expect you to come on here. I'm so happy
I
to see
know.
your lovely face.
I know. I got out of there for a couple hours. I really need to work for a little bit. So to tell Sadie, my husband is in the hospital right now. He's gonna be fine, but he's just there getting medicine right now. And so I'm like, I need to leave for a couple hours and get some work done. And I was like, well, I'm working. I might as well dial in. So anyway,
well,
Who
thank
doesn't
you.
want to just listen to me talk while they work?
he loves listening to you.
It's just like ironic, Angela. I just got my FedEx alert that my package will be delivered tomorrow at 8 p.m. So I'm going to make sure that I'm here at 8 p.m. So Sadie, Angela is one of my private clients, and she's a cake baker. She's a baker, and I told her
Cool.
that I wanted to taste her cakes because I can't really get to Virginia to taste them. So she FedExed me some samples of her wedding cake so I can eat them.
Oh my goodness, that's so nice.
It just seems kind of wrong though to be like sending you the cake, but here we
Oh,
are.
these are, and this is actually kind of part of something that I wanted to talk about anyways, but I think these are the experiences and stuff like that that make these things fun, because some people might be listening and be like, are you talking to your clients about like you guys are eating cake together? It's like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're eating cake together. Like, she's a cake baker. She does this for a living. She makes delicious cake. And like, that is something that I consider a treat that is like 10 out of 10 worth it. Like, of course I'm going to try that. Like, I think we start to
Hopefully.
have, yeah. Well, we'll see what Tim's verdict is on that. So, anyways, I'm very excited to taste these cakes, Angela.
Thank you. Will you let me know?
Mm, okay. All right. Oh, Michelle, nice
Hi,
to officially see you.
yeah, it's me. I'm in the car. I have to do a emergency delivery of a remote for my mom. So I'll be in the car listening.
No worries. I'm just glad that you could tune in. Nice to
Oh
see you.
yes, we're in New Jersey. So we have the Jersey. We live at the beach, so we have the beach traffic. So
And I can hear the Jersey accent too.
oh, that's what people say, which is funny because I don't think I have one because people have worse ones where I live. They're like going to the shore. Like they talk like that.
You probably
I love
think
it.
Brandy and
I
I
think it's
sound goofy being from Minnesota.
I know. I just think we sound trashy. I think everybody else sounds cool with their accents. We just sound like dumb, like dumb. I don't know. That's what I think
where
of Minnesota accent.
where where are you from?
Minnesota.
Oh, I love the Minnesota accent. I actually had a whole family. They moved from Minnesota and I taught them and they had a little twang. Like I
Yeah.
like it.
And are like
Hmm.
O's. You betcha. You're O's.
Oh, yes.
Minnesota.
Yes, Minnesota. That's right.
Hmm. Well, thank you, gals, for being here. Okay, so let's hear. Let me collect my thoughts and pull up my notes here before I start being a talking head at you. Okay, so next week. So this is our last official Zoom call together because this is your going into your fourth week here. So 30 days. But next Next Monday or Tuesday. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me pull up my calendar. You guys know what I was just, honestly, what I was just doing before this? I was like psycho cleaning my house. I just got in this mode and I couldn't stop. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get on my call here in like 10 minutes. I need to like put down the broom. And I was going for it. And it felt really good. So I got a little off.
Did you find your keys?
No, Sadie. So I had to walk to
Oh,
frickin'
no.
Ace Hardware and make new keys because I can't find them. And I'm pretty sure Murray took them. And they're going to be somewhere stupid, you know, like stuffed inside one of the butts of her stuffed animals or something. You know what I mean?
Toddlers, man, they're ruthless.
Okay, so forecasting here. Next Tuesday. Okay, so next Tuesday at 10 a.m., kind of officially when the reset is over, I'm going to jump on a Facebook Live. So just hop into the Facebook group, 10 a.m. Central. If you guys are around, it's not going to be like a formal Zoom call like this. It's just going to be a live. And I'm just going to, it's going to be short. I'm talking like 20 minutes. It's really just like my words of wisdom, right? My parting to you guys, my closing, my whole little spiel about keep going and all the things. And just talking about options and different things moving forward, right? Like a lot of people will spread their wings and try this solo. Some people might roll over into my one-on-one program. I always keep 2 spots on my roster, on my private roster, open following a reset because that sometimes happens. So I'm going to just talk a little bit more about that in a Facebook Live next week. But the other topic that I really wanted to talk about today, so we're going to talk about sleep, as boring as that might sound, but I think it's really, really important. But the other thing that I want to talk about, what I've been noticing in the Facebook group, and I think is really neat, is you guys have already started like running some of your own experiments with food, right? Like what happens when I eat something that isn't supportive? What happens to my body physically? What happens to me mentally? Is it easy for me to get back on track? Do I feel like I've messed up? Do I feel like I failed? Things like that. You know, Sadie, I know you had a bachelorette party. I know Teresa was in there and she had like a long weekend up at the cabin. So the art, this is called the art of getting back on track. This is what I call it, the art of getting back on track. If there is one food behavior that causes the wheels to come off the most, it's this, not being able to get back on track. Okay. And it's like, why can't we do this? We need to think critically about this. Like, why can't we do this? Us women, we're smart, we're resilient, we're adaptable. We can critically think, we can problem solve, we can do all the things. But when it comes to dieting, we completely lose our flexibility. We completely lose our flexibility. And I'll give you an example. I just thought of this morning, actually, when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today was think of work, right? I'm just going to use somebody who generally works like a 9 to 5 job, right? We go to work Monday through Friday, but obviously insert whatever your work schedule is. And we have the weekends off. So we have, a routine. We're more regimented. We have a schedule. We have all of these things Monday through Friday that we need to stick to. And then on the weekends, maybe we have a little bit more flexibility. Our schedule's relaxed. We have more time to do things that are more for enjoyment and leisure instead of work. Come Monday, we just get back to it, right? Like easy peasy. We go back and, well, it's not always easy peasy, but you guys get it. For the most part, like we're able to adjust and resume going to work on Monday with no issues, right? We're not like crazy spinning our wheels about it. We're just doing it. But like when it comes to dieting for whatever, after a week-long vacation, after a bachelorette party, after, girls' night out, put in whatever, we really struggle to like apply these critically thinking, adaptable, resilient, problem solving skills we have when it comes to food. Like all the wheels just come off because we're very black and white. We're very all or nothing when it comes to our food because it's very emotionally driven. But And I know why this is, or I know partly why this is, because, our diet culture has really perpetuated the idea that when you diet to lose weight, that you have to be perfect, right? Everybody has kind of thought about this before. You need to be perfect. You need to follow your plan. If you don't, it won't work. And then you failed, right? That's kind of the gist of it. And then when we fail, and then when we think we've failed, we give up. That's what we do. If we think we failed, we give up. But here's the thing. If you never think you're failing, you won't give up. Remember that, okay? If you never think that you're failing, you won't give up. This is what I do. I never picture anything as far as it relates to my food as a failure. Like, this is what makes it impossible for me to do anything else. This is how you make a plan like unquittable or unstoppable. But so anyways, our little diet brain gets in the way. And when we think we've had like a bad day of eating or a bad weekend of eating at the cabin, or too many drinks, too many snacks, I actually just got back from 3 days at the cabin, and you bet I ate more and drank more than I would normally do. And I'm feeling a little run down with it, but it's all good, because I know that's not my norm. I just go back to my regular programming with like food, right? And it's not a big deal. I know that a few days of like offshoot eating is not what makes or breaks people's diet. Okay. So anyways, I was going to say something else, but then I forgot. So anyways, these things are not deal breakers, right? They're not deal breakers unless you decide it is. Okay. And most people do. And then the wheels fall off, right? And then a couple days of, bad eating or less than optimal eating turns into a big blowout, and then the wheels fall off. That's where people get in trouble. Okay. That is part of the cycle that gets people in trouble. And that is part of the cycle that we need to stop. Something that most weight loss programs don't take in account for is our lived experiences. Okay. Our lived experiences. What happens when life gets in the way, right? Because life always gets in the way. You guys know this, right? Life should get in the way. I want life to get in the way. Like our lived experiences is far more important than what we're eating. These are just like the bachelorette parties, the vacations, the weddings, the celebrations, all of these things. These are all just parts of our lived experience. Okay. And when we think of these situations as off track moments or like a deviance from our healthy eating plan, whatever it is that we're doing, our behaviors tend to follow that. But it's like, what if we just thought of those experiences as part of our healthy eating plan? I know that sounds counterproductive. Like, I'm talking, like me and Angela, we were just talking about eating cake. Angela is a cake baker, and she sent me cake in the mail, and she's my client, and I'm going to eat the cake. But this is part of my lived experiences. And these are moments that we should have. Like, we are hedonistic animals. Like, we are driven by pleasure, and food and celebration and culture and all of those things also gives us culture. And it would be a very sad world if we didn't get to participate in any of those because we were dieting, because our plan didn't allow for it. So anyways, I just like people to think about these circumstances or these experiences as part of our plan. Okay. Not a deviance from it. It's just part of it. And I also think that like those extra moments, like those extra food moments or whatever, is also what helps people sustain their weight loss plan, right? Because a life without an occasional treat or indulgence would be pretty lame, in my opinion. So I'm not saying like, people need to go balls to the walls here and like overdo it at every single thing, but I'm saying that we can get healthy, we can lose weight, we can enjoy our life experiences like responsible adults without the wheels falling off. And that, my friends, is what the art of getting back on track is. We just need to get better at getting back at track, and we need to fail better. Okay. And I use the word fail. I don't think anybody's failing. Like Teresa's cabin weekend, Sadie's bachelorette weekend, like these aren't fails, but I use this language because this is a language clients use with me. But so we just need to get better at getting back on track, and we need to get better at failing. So I hope everybody here has like run the experiment, like go out and indulge in something, like see what happens, because that's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. We don't want the wheels to fall off once that's done. Just like holiday season, right? Everybody's always up in arms about holiday season. It's like holiday season happens every single year at the same time of the year, every single year. Like we know this. And I consider the holiday season a part of my plan. It's not like a deviance from it at all. So anyways, you guys, that had nothing to do with anything that I wanted to talk about today, but I had the idea to talk about it just from the stuff that I'm seeing in the Facebook group. So anyways, I am going to do a short little teaching about sleep. Okay. This is actually probably going to be the shortest one. I don't think we can have a diet program without talking about sleep. So here we are. I'm hoping you guys are starting to feel like you have the diet part of this, like the food part of this, pretty handled. If you're not, that's okay. It takes some practice here. So don't worry about it. You just keep going, keep putting in the reps. And hopefully we're understanding that this is kind of boring. Like food is kind of boring. Food should be boring, right? This process of getting healthy, the process of losing weight is not a sexy process. It is repetitive. It's mundane. It's not exciting. This is where a lot of people fail with diets because they always think there's like some shiny object next. Like, oh, what's next? What's next after this? I'm like, there's nothing next. Literally, this is what you just keep doing, and you keep doing it for a really, really long time. And it's super boring. It's supposed to be like that. And I actually think it's really good when we get to a point where it just feels like you're moving through the motions, like putting in the reps without thinking about it too much, because you guys have far better things to think about than food all day long, right? And you probably have noticed at that point, at this point, when you're properly fed, food isn't on your radar all day. That is a great way to quiet the food noise, is just being nourished from the get-go so you can move on with your day. So the whole sleep thing, I have hinted to the idea of circadian rhythms. I think I talked about this a little bit last week. Just a little recap. Circadian rhythms are our 24-hour internal clocks that are synced to the lightness and darkness, right? They're synced to the rising and setting of the sun. Within that 24 internal hour clock, we have a wake cycle and we have a sleep cycle, right? Two major cycles that are dictated by darkness and light. We have talked at length now about what we do as it relates to food during the wake part. And now we have to talk about the metabolic importance of the sleep part of the cycle. And it's funny because this is always the stuff people want to skip. People don't want to talk about this. They're like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like, I don't want to talk about this. And I'm like, okay, well, you're probably going to be missing out on something. But in my opinion, like next to food, like sleep is the foundation of health. Like I truly believe that, especially from somebody who doesn't always get the best sleep because of unruly children. And then like in newborn stages, I really took for granted my sleep and thought I was losing my shit 90% of the time. But it just went to show me like a testament of like how important sleep is. And you don't really realize that until you're not really getting great sleep anymore. But anyways, I think it's great that generally in the health and wellness space right now, there's like more and more emphasis placed on getting good sleep, right? Everybody's kind of leaning into optimizing their sleep. Everybody's getting their little fancy gadgets to track their sleep, which you most definitely do not need to have. Because everybody wants to focus on food and exercise, and they miss a huge piece of the puzzle because they think they can just hustle their way through life and skimp on sleep, and you can't. You just can't. Not for long anyways. The whole like I'll sleep when I'm dead thing, it's like you're literally going to die faster without sleep, and I don't think that's what people were intending to do. It's like if you want to die quick, I don't know, I'm telling you guys how to die quick, but if you want to like not have the longest life in the world, you can skip sleep, you cannot strength train, and you can undereat protein. Those are the three things, like you guys, those three things, protein intake, sleep, and muscle, right, from strength training. Those three things are directly linked to longevity. Like we know this. If you can hone in on those three things, you will live longer. And I'm not just talking about like longer years, like your health span will get better, but your not just your lifespan, but your health span, right? You're not just going to have more years and be fragile. You're going to have more years and you're going to feel good. There's a big difference there because we can keep a lot of people alive these days, if you guys have noticed this, but it doesn't mean their quality of life is great. So anyways, muscle, protein, sleep. Every single client that I have ever worked with checks off sleep as an area that they have problems with. When I work with clients one-on-one, they fill out this stupid long intake form because I need to get to like the nitty-gritty of everything, right? Like sleep, stress, bowels, like we're talking about all of the things, but every single person checks sleep as a problem, whether it's getting to sleep, staying to sleep, deeming themselves as a light sleeper, because they frequently wake up because a cat jumped off the bed or they have to pee, whatever. Like, you're not a light sleeper, just in case anybody thinks they're a light sleeper. You're not actually a light sleeper. You just aren't getting into deep sleep. Okay. There's a problem. You're not a light sleeper. You're just not getting deep sleep. And that's the bigger problem. And all of these things, run on a circadian rhythm, like your urinary system, your digestive system, they should be relatively dormant overnight. You guys know that? Like, this is why you don't get up in the middle of the night and like poop. I'm back to poop here. I talk about poop a lot with my clients. It's fine. But this is why that never happens, because like those systems are lying dormant overnight. They're doing things, but they're not as active. So when people say that like they woke up because they have to pee, and it's like, your body wouldn't do that. Like, your body's not going to wake unless you like chugged a gallon of water before bed, but that's stupid. So don't do that. Like, your body doesn't want to wake you up because it has to pee. Like, you woke up because of something else, and then you were like, oh shoot, like I should probably just pee, right? Like, we all do that. So if you're watching this now, or you're going to catch the replay, because I know a lot of people had to catch the replay today. If you have a sleep struggle, drop it in the comments. I want to hear about it. If not, that's great. So we sometimes think about sleep as this, this passive thing, right? This passive thing, this unimportant thing, like our body just kind of like shuts down when we go to bed and it's dormant. But it just feels like that to you. But under the hood, it's the time of the day that all of our repair, all of our restoration, all of our healing work happens. Our body does its cleanup from the day, right? It's busy sorting information. It's consolidating memories. It's working on your short-term and your long-term memory. Your brain is going through this little detoxification process. Our bodies are doing a lot overnight, and these processes only happen at night because of the circadian clocks. So we don't want to impede on those processes because we're, too busy binge watching Netflix or scrolling our phone or not going to sleep for whatever reason. So what the heck does sleep have to do with metabolism, right? This is a metabolic program. So you might be thinking, Brenny, what are you talking about? What is this, bring this in full circle here. So what does sleep have to do with your metabolism? Literally everything. Literally everything. Not getting sleep changes how our body uses fuel, and it encourages our body to stay stuck in that sugar burning paradigm via cortisol. I talked about this last week, that sugar burning versus fat burning, and how we are fat burning animals, and we really don't want to be stuck in the sugar burning paradigm where we're really reliant on like exogenous sugar to keep our energies up, our blood sugar up, keep our hunger. We don't want that. So how does this happen? So when we don't sleep, it's a stressor. It's a stressor to our bodies. And I say this very empathetic for anybody who has small children, because we're fucked. We just got the short end of the stick on that. And I'm reminded that it ends at some point in time, but there's nothing we can do about it. Well, there's actually a lot of things, and I'm going to talk about how do we like optimize it. When the cards, when we can't control how our children sleep, but we also can control a lot of other things about like optimizing our sleep environment to make it a little less dreadful. So anyways, think of an animal in the wild. I know that's kooky. I just think it helps when we think of ourselves as animals in the wild, because, we are animals in the wild. We are diurnal animals, meaning we are designed to be awake during the day and sleeping at night. If a diurnal animal is awake at night, something is usually wrong, right? There's a threat, there's a stressor in the environment that is causing us to be awake or causing us to have to stay awake to like monitor what's going on. Right, we've talked about this, like our metabolism is a stress barometer. It's not a little diet calculator that likes to follow calories or follow serving sizes or macros. It responds to input and it responds to stress. And a lack of sleep is stress. So if you are chronically not sleeping, you can probably expect that your body is kind of under this low grade level chronic stress. In the reset here, we've been working on sending, these safe signals to our body through nourishment, right? And tapping the brakes on food that causes that inflammatory immune response, which also causes stress to our body, that internal stress to our body. So when we're stressed, you guys, sometimes I hate talking about stress because I feel like everybody's stressed. And it's really hard when people are like, Brandy, how do I get rid of my stress? I'm like, I don't think we can get rid of stress. I think like, welcome to the modern day human experience. We're all chronically stressed out. But so this is why this is important to understand. So when we are stressed, there's a stress response, right? Everybody's heard of this, the stress response. That's our fight or flight state, our sympathetic state. So we have a nervous system. We have two halves of our nervous system. We have a parasympathetic state, which is our rest and digest. And we have our sympathetic state, which is our fight or flight, right? Our stressed out, crazy side of our autonomic nervous system. When we are in that stress state frequently, our body releases a hormone called cortisol. Everybody's aware of this, our stress hormone. I like to call it our survival hormone sometimes too. Everyone's heard of this. Cortisol, despite what social media is flinging around about cortisol face and all these cortisol cocktails to make you cortisol not whatever, don't buy any of that stuff, please. Cortisol isn't necessarily a bad thing, okay? It has a lot of positive effects. When we exercise, it wakes us up in the morning. We get a little cortisol rise about 45 minutes after we wake up. It helps us get away from things. Like if you were to step out in a road and a car was coming by and you had to quick jump backwards, you can thank cortisol. You can thank cortisol for that. So it's not always bad. It's our survival hormone, and it helps keep us alive. Cortisol also has its own circadian rhythm, right? We get that little rise in the morning, maybe a couple times throughout the day, right? Maybe you're exercising, maybe you have like a speech or a stressful work project that you have to do, so your stress is a little bit high, so maybe your cortisol bumps up. But as the sun goes down, your cortisol, assuming we're not messing with it, also tapers down for the day too. Like we don't want high cortisol at night. That's really going to mess up your sleep. So when we have surges of cortisol, it results in the dumping of sugar into our blood for that fast fuel. Remember I talked about that last week? We have our slow fuels and we have our fast fuels, and sugar is our fast fuel. So it dumps sugar into our blood for a fast fuel because our bodies think that we're trying to escape or avoid something, that we need to move fast. So it's giving us a surge of powerful fuel to get us to move quickly. When that happens acutely and it's just a transient moment in time, there's like no big deal, right? That's not a big deal. But when it happens consistently and chronically, metabolic issues happen because then we get elevated levels of cortisol and then we get elevated levels of sugar in our blood. That's not good. I talked about insulin resistance a little bit last week. You can either eat your way into insulin resistance or you can stress your way into insulin resistance via cortisol. So we want, like I said, we want that nice open relationship between your cells and insulin, and high levels of cortisol that are like coursing through your veins all day really overburdens our body and our cells with sugar. And that's not the paradigm that we want to be in. Your body doesn't know that we're simply choosing to not sleep. Maybe you're not choosing to sleep, right, with the kid thing and whatnot, but maybe you're up all night and you're on your phone, or you're, drinking caffeine late into the day. That might be relevant to somebody in this group. Our body doesn't know that we're not trying to sleep. Like our body doesn't know that our mind's racing, so you can't get to bed. All it knows is that you are a diurnal animal and you should be asleep. And if you're not, it's stressed and it's going to respond accordingly by raising cortisol and therefore raising your blood sugar. Remember that, like the wired but tired feeling? Like that's like the stress response in full swing there. So with all that said, I do know how annoying it can be when someone says that you need to get more sleep. I feel like it's a very overused blanket statement in the wellness industry when people are like, oh, to get healthy, you just need to get more sleep. And then it's just like done. But the main point that I want to get across to you guys is why sleep is metabolically important, because it changes how your fueling system works, and then how to actually achieve better sleep. Okay, first things first. What time is it? 1:32. Oh, I'm doing great, guys. I'm almost done. This was a quick, snappy one. First things first, focus on a sleep routine. Okay, that's annoying. Have you guys seen, I don't know, maybe this is just me. I'm on social media too much, but like a lot of influencers on social media and they have these like morning routines and they're like 3 hours long. They like wake up, they do some deep breathing, they like cold plunge, they sauna, they journal, they drink a green juice, they go for a 45. And I'm like, do these people work? Like, who has 3 hours to do a morning routine? I'm not going to ask you guys to do that for your wind down routine, but I think we need to do something, but you don't need to spend 3 hours on it. So all these tips that I'm going to kind of like talk through in a moment are going to help your body just like de-stress. That's the whole name of the game here. We're just like trying to de-stress, take it down a level. We're sending this little signal to your body that like the day's coming to the end, that all is like good and safe in your environment, that there's no threat, right? And it's just like time to calm down and get ready for sleep. We want to take a couple of hours before we sleep and just work on bringing down the vibe. So if you typically go to bed around 10 o'clock or something like that, at 8 o'clock, that's just kind of your cue. Like it's just time to bring down the vibe. Like stop doing, don't exercise, stop, put your work laptop away, turn the lighting down in your house, just like a few of those things. We're just like bringing down the vibe. You don't need to like, and with your family, go for a walk with your family, a nice little sunset walk, play some card games with your family, socialize, do all those things. Those are great. But we just want to bring like the general vibe of the environment a little bit more chill. So as far as I'm concerned, when the sun starts going down, we should start going down, right? Like we want to taper with the sun. I know that doesn't always work with people's lives, and I get that, but do the best that you can. So here are some of my favorite. I'm just going to go through the little printout that you guys got with the little sleep hacks. Number one, implement a screen curfew. Well, this is annoying, but you should probably put down your phone. We should actually, my private clients right now, all of their goals over the next few weeks are related to this because they've dialed it down. They've been working with me for 2-3 months at this point in time, and they've like dialed down the nutrition and we're working on it. But now we're doing some other stuff that really just influences our overall well-being. But a screen curfew. Like we know that the blue light that's emitted from screens, right? Our TV, our computer, our cell phone, it tricks our brain into thinking it's still daytime. Okay. We have to understand that our bodies are synced with light and our bodies expect certain light at certain times of the day. During the daytime, our bodies expect blue light, right? Daytime, you're outside, all of these things. But when the sun goes down, our body does not expect blue light anymore. And it's confusing. Your body thinks it's still daylight outside. It expects, what is the word I'm looking for? Different hues, right? Like red, oranges. Think of the colors of the sunset. Okay. So anyways, when we have a bunch of blue light in front of our face after the sun goes down, it suppresses the release of melatonin, right? Melatonin is what makes us sleepy and encourages us to get ready for bed. So we don't want to disrupt that, okay? Like there's also a lot of things these days, technology that you can install on your phones and your computers and stuff that can like dim your screens. If you guys have an iPhone, you can do this on an Android. Me and Angela just did this on her phone too, because this is one of her goals. But if you have, oops, I don't know if you guys can see this, but you have an iPhone. Do you see it red? You can change your iPhone, your screen red. So every night at 7 p.m., my phone goes red. And somebody's going to tell me it's hard to see. And I'm going to tell you that that's the point because we probably shouldn't be on it anymore. But it happens sometimes. I don't want to pretend that I'm some virtuous health coach here that's like always off my screens. I watch TV at night sometimes and all of those things, but do your best. I have blue blockers that I wear if I'm going to be in front of the TV after the sun goes down. My phone is red. All of these lamps that are by my bedside here, because I read before I go to bed, they are red or orange. Okay. We don't want blue lights. We don't want LED lights. We don't want super big, bright overhead lights or anything like that. So think of that. Next, shoot for 8 hours of sleep. The science is always wishy-washy about how many hours of sleep does somebody need, but I just think generally, let's just agree that eight's probably pretty good. If all else fails, like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., I think is a pretty good starting point there. What else can we do? I lost my notes on my screen, so I'm going to try to do some of this by memory. What else can we do that was on there? Close your eating window. That's right. Your body's trying to wind down, okay? Digesting food right before we go to bed is probably not a really good idea. And the thing is, digesting food helps raise our body temperature, right? Because our body's like working to metabolize and digest the food. And in order for us to get to sleep, our body, our internal core temperature actually has to decrease a couple of degrees. So it's just going to be counterproductive. Your body also has very little need for fuel later in the day, right? We've talked about that. Break fast like a king and front load your food. We just don't want a lot of food coming in at night because there's just no need for it. Here's the other piece of that. Melatonin and insulin, okay? Melatonin is a nighttime hormone. Insulin is a daytime hormone. They have a very antagonistic relationship. They don't like to be present with each other. Think of them as like, frenemies at a party. If one walks in, the other one's walking out. So if you're winding down for the night and you're trying to get ready for bed and melatonin's, trying to come up here a little bit to cue you to get ready for bed, and then you eat some food, especially like a carbohydrate rich food, which has more of an insulin response, insulin is now present and melatonin's like, what the hell? I thought this was nighttime. I don't know what this animal is doing, but for whatever reason it ate. So melatonin retreats back to the bunker, okay? Because insulin is only supposed to be out during the day and melatonin is only supposed to be out at night. So they don't like to cross paths. What else can we do? Tap into your parasympathetic state. Isn't that nice? Do something nice for yourself. I love when we can spend 5 minutes to start our morning off on a nice foot. And if we can spend a few minutes at the end of the day to also close our day on a nice foot. Just enter your chill state, whatever that looks like for you, right? Avoid stressful tasks. Don't do an intense workout. Close your work computer. Don't get in a huge blowout with your spouse before you go to bed. That is not conducive to good night's sleep either. Just anything to like tap into your nervous system. Maybe you meditate, maybe you journal, maybe you color, whatever it is. Chill zone. Okay. What am I missing here? What else can we do? Dim the lights. I mean, I kind of talked about this with the whole blue light thing, but when the sun starts going down, that's your cue to start darkening your environment, right? Initiate a dark environment after sunset just to help send that little signal to your body that it's like time to get ready for sleep. I always joke that if people walk past our house after dark, it looks like the red light district. Like our house is red. All of our lights inside are red or like amber or orange. You can find them on Amazon, just like Google nighttime bulbs. Red is like, it's not hard to see, but it's a little bit difficult. But like, sort of like an orange or an amber if you still need to be like up. Because right now, you guys know, like in the winter, the sun goes down at like 4:30 p.m., but most people are doing things still. Like we can't have it completely dark. This is where like our old life and our modern life, we just have to find some kind of in between. But like just generally different hued lights helps a lot. I'll always remember the first day that I went and switched all of our light bulbs out. We have an old house, so we don't have a lot of overhead lighting. Most of ours are like wall lighting, like scones or lamps, which is good and bad. But I bought a bunch of these like orange, kind of the Edison bulbs, if you know what I'm talking about. And Tim came home and he was just complaining that he couldn't see anything, but it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. And I was like, Tim, that's literally the point. Like we shouldn't be doing anything right now. If you think back to like our, ancient ancestry here, when the sun went down, we were done. We didn't have the luxury of walking into a kitchen and turning on an overhead light, like we were forced to wind down with the sun. So we're kind of trying to mimic that a little bit. So throw on some blue blockers if you have to. Use some little lamps instead of overhead lights and things like that. It will also help your children sleep better because they are also animals with a circadian rhythm as well. What else? Go for a sunset walk. Can you do that? That's a nice little wind down family thing. We try to do that after dinner most nights if it works. But yeah, the natural sunset light is also just like encouragement to your body to start the production of melatonin as it kind of like hits your skin and your eyes. So that's a good little thing to cue up your sleepy feeling. What else? Oh, cell phones. If you can keep your cell phone out of your room, I know that's going to be very radical for most people. Um, and before you tell me that it's your alarm clock, I'll tell you that we can buy alarm clocks on Amazon for $5, and they're these nifty little things that wake you up in the morning. So we don't need our cell phones. I will say I sleep with my cell phone, so this is not an area where I am doing very well at. But I would say before I had Murray, you guys, I slept with my phone out of my room for like 2 years, and it was glorious. It was glorious to go to bed and wake up every single morning without my phone. And I loved it. And I had an alarm clock if I needed to set it. So if you can, take your phone out of your room. What else? Get morning light. Okay. If there's one thing that will help your sleep out the most, it is what you do in the morning. Okay. Your mornings, the signal to your body. So the morning light, as soon as you can get morning light, it signals to your body to stop producing melatonin and start producing serotonin, right? Like they're opposing, they're counter-regulatory hormones. Serotonin helps us feel alert, wakeful, kind of ready to tackle the day. A good night's sleep starts with morning sunlight. Okay. Even just 15, 5, 10, 20, 25 minutes, an hour. Literally, I'm one of those people that like anything is better than nothing. So if you can only get outside for 5 minutes in the morning, get outside for 5 minutes. If you have to crack your window where you drive to work, which I do often, or when I'm driving to the gym, do that, right? Lightweights bend. It's fine coming through your window. There's no rule against that. You don't get it through a window, but you will get it if your window's cracked. Little things like that. What else? I don't know. I think that was it. There might have been a couple more on there, but I'm forgetting them. But they were pretty laid out in your guys' weekly lesson. So the moral of the story, you guys, just pick a couple of these. Just pick a couple of these hacks. Start incorporating them into your routine. I always encourage people if they tell me that they're like, oh, I think I get okay sleep, to maybe be open to the fact that your sleep could be better. Okay. We don't need to do all of these things that I just talked about, but just, maybe for the next week or so, pick a couple of these little sleep tips, hacks, and try them out. I don't want you guys to I don't want to stress you guys out by thinking that you need like some crazy 4-hour wind down routine, but it's just simple things. Can you stop working an hour earlier? Can you take a sunset walk? Can you dim the lights in your house? Can you turn your phone screen red? Can you read a book instead of scrolling social media the hour before you go to bed? Just any of these small things. Okay. My children, Sadie, I know. Sleep. Murray sleeps in bed with me, you guys. So my sleep is just, I truly just, I surrender to the fact that she's just, I always wake up at night with her. But that's where I have to do my due diligence of making sure that I can control the things that I can control. I can control how I nourish myself. I can control my sleep hygiene, right? My sleep routine, all of these things. I can control my movement. And that stuff is hopefully enough to just buffer this season in my life where I'm not getting great sleep. And that's all we can do, right? We can stress about not getting good sleep when we have kids, but I don't think it's going to do us any good. Stressing about not sleeping is just making us more stressed, and we don't want to do that. And we also know how counterproductive that can be for fat loss in the first place. So surrender to what you can't control and pick a few of these things to just try on for size over the next couple of weeks. I think that was it. I'm going to check the Facebook group really quick. If you guys have any questions, of course, feel free to ask them, but I just want to make sure that nobody asked anything in the Facebook group that I missed.
Randy, I'm thinking about winter when we don't have much sunlight or it's frigid cold, and I do my best to get out. But what do you think about, I don't know what they're called, those like artificial lights that you like, I don't know, my mom has one, but oops.
Like the light lamps, light lamps or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, they're like supposed to like somewhat mimic the sunlight, so you kind of pop your face in front of it for a few minutes.
I think they're better than nothing, but nothing will ever replace the sun, right? Well, like nothing will ever replace what nature provides us. My
Oh
like
yeah.
what I do during the winter, because I used to have one of those, Sadie, and then I stopped using one because I just did my best to like when the sun did come out at 7 or 8 o'clock, whatever time that was, then I would go outside. We also have to like something to think about too. It's like a lot of people talk about sleeping more in the winter. They're like, well, I don't know why. I just feel like more tired and like I want to sleep more in the winter. And I also want to normalize that a little bit because we have longer days in the winter. So this would make sense. Ancestrally, like we probably would have slept more in the winter because we had less light out. So I actually think it's okay that we're sleeping a little bit longer in the winter. And in the summer, you guys notice your sleep might have shifted a little bit and you actually might be sleeping a little less because we have more hours of daylight. So our bodies, all of this follows the circadian rhythm because there's a seasonal circadian rhythm, there's a yearly circadian rhythm, like all of these things. So my best advice for winter, if you are somewhere where there's not a lot of daylight, is just get the daylight that you can. So when the sun does come up at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, try to get out. Morning's a good time to get out. Midday is a good time to get outside too. Like when, 12 o'clock is typically when the sun is at its highest point in the sky before it starts its descent. So it's also just like, I think of them as light breaks. Just get outside periodically through the day because you're just reminding your body where the sun is in the sky, right? You're reminding your body what time it is. And then of course it's dark at 4:30 p.m., at least where I live in the winter. So it's like just try to get out for that sunset, around 4 o'clock, even if it's just a few minutes, just to like send that signal to your body, like, hey, oh, the day's almost over now and it's fine. Um, yeah, I just think our light requirements actually change a little bit in the winter just based on these natural cycles, and it's fine to just do that. But that was a long-winded answer. There's nothing wrong with a light box, but I don't think you'll get the full. I just don't want people trying to replace their daylight time with a light box. But I also don't think there's probably going to be no harm in using it. So that's a good question. You guys got anything else? Any other questions? It can be on the topic of sleep or nothing. It doesn't have to be on the topic of sleep at all. Okay. Okay. All right, ladies. It's been real. We have a little group today. That's okay though. I will see you guys next week for my little closing session on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Time. Pop into the Facebook group. And if you guys need anything in the meantime, you know how to find me.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Bye,
for
girl. Bye,
everything.
ladies.
Bye.